While others were busy flexing stealth and size, one tiny jet from Sweden just gave Canada a lesson it won't forget. Because in a world where power is measured by how much money you burn, Sweden proved something radical: that intelligence still beats excess. And when Canada finally put that theory to the test, it learned the hard way why the Gripen E isn't just another fighter, it's a game changer. For decades, Canada has been part of the elite club, a NATO member flying American jets, operating shoulder to shoulder with the US Air Force. The country's skies have long been guarded by the mighty CF-18 Hornet, a battle-tested veteran from the Cold War era. But time was catching up. The Hornets were aging, the parts were running scarce, and the Russians were flying closer to Arctic airspace than ever before. Canada needed a new fighter, something modern, lethal, and ready for the next 30 years. So, like any loyal ally, Canada turned first to its most powerful friend, the United States. The F-35 Lightning II looked like the obvious answer: stealth, sensors, NATO compatibility. The marketing was flawless. But the reality? Not so much. The F-35 came with eye-watering costs, delayed deliveries, and complex maintenance that could ground the fleet for weeks. That's when another name quietly entered the room: the JAS-39 Gripen E, built by Sweden's Saab. And suddenly, what was supposed to be an easy choice wasn't easy anymore. When Canada announced it was evaluating the Gripen E alongside the F-35, the experts laughed.
Nice try, they said.
How can a small Swedish jet compete with America's trillion-dollar marvel?
They had a point, at least on paper. The F-35 boasted stealth technology, global support networks, and advanced sensors. The Gripen? It didn't have stealth, it didn't have US backing, and it came from a country that hadn't fought a war in over 200 years. But that's where the story takes a turn. Because while the F-35 was designed to dominate superpowers, the Gripen was designed to survive reality. It could take off from highways, it could be refueled and rearmed by 6 conscripts with a toolbox, and it cost a fraction to operate, about $5,000 per flight hour compared to over $30,000 for the F-35. It wasn't built to be flashy, it was built to be unstoppable. Still, the critics rolled their eyes. They said Canada's harsh winters, its vast distances, its Arctic patrols would break the Gripen. But Sweden had built the jet for that exact environment. Icy airfields? Check. Rapid turnarounds? Check. Independence from US supply chains? Double check. And that's when the pressure started mounting. As the competition heated up, reports began to surface from NATO exercises in Europe, and they weren't kind to the F-35. During mock dogfights, the Gripen E had done something few expected. It outmaneuvered its heavier rivals. It jammed their sensors. It locked targets before being detected.
One pilot reportedly joked, "Fighting the Gripen is like fighting a ghost."
It wasn't just about stealth anymore. It was about information warfare. The Gripen's electronic warfare suite, the EW-39, had become a digital sledgehammer. It could jam, deceive, and blind even advanced systems. In a real fight, that means this budget jet could turn off an enemy's eyes before they even see it coming. And for Canada, that mattered. Because the country didn't just need a jet for show, it needed one that could actually fight, survive, and operate without constant US oversight. That's when the numbers began to speak louder than politics. The Gripen could be built in Canada. Its technology could be shared. Its operations could be sustained by Canadian crews on Canadian soil. No foreign control, no dependency, full sovereignty. Suddenly, the underdog didn't look so small anymore. Behind closed doors, test pilots began whispering. They'd flown both. They'd seen both. And some admitted the Gripen E just felt different. It was intuitive, the kind of jet that seemed to anticipate your next move. Every system, every sensor, every decision was designed for the pilot, not the politics. In simulations, the Gripen E's situational awareness rivaled the F-35's, but at a tenth of the cost. And its ability to integrate quickly with NATO networks while still being independent was a dream for Canadian defense planners. Then came the field data from Brazil, another Gripen operator. The aircraft's reliability rates were astonishing, no massive maintenance hangars. No dependency on US software locks, just uptime, efficiency, and real-world readiness. That's when Canada realized the uncomfortable truth. The Gripen wasn't behind. It was ahead in all the ways that mattered. It wasn't about stealth or speed. It was about flexibility, autonomy, and survival. The very things Canada's Arctic defenses demanded. But politics has its own laws of gravity, and in 2022, despite all the Gripen's advantages, Ottawa made its final call, the F-35. Billions signed. Lockheed Martin smiled. The headlines declared victory for the US, but beneath that victory was a quiet unease. Because the moment Canada signed that deal, it gave up something priceless: independence. Its skies would now depend on US parts, US software, and US approval. Meanwhile, Saab didn't lose. It learned. The Gripen E continued to evolve, its design refined by lessons from every lost competition. Brazil doubled down. Hungary expanded its fleet, and new nations started calling. Nations tired of begging superpowers for spare parts. The irony? While Canada prepares to wait years for its F-35s, the Gripen E is already flying. Fully operational, fully capable, and cheaper to sustain for decades. In a strange twist of fate, the country that needed sovereignty the most chose dependence, and the aircraft that could have given it full control was left waiting on the runway. Across NATO, whispers have started. Countries are asking the same question: what if Sweden was right all along? Even major air forces are rethinking their priorities. Stealth isn't everything. Data, speed, and adaptability now define the future of air combat. And no jet embodies that philosophy more than the Gripen E, because it isn't just a machine, it's a message. A message that power doesn't have to come with a $1 trillion price tag, that freedom in the sky can come from innovation, not intimidation.
As one European defense analyst put it, the Gripen doesn't try to be the best in everything. It just makes everything else harder to beat.
And that's the kind of brilliance money can't buy. So yes, Canada learned the hard way. It learned that sometimes the real game changer isn't the loudest or the most expensive. It's the one quietly rewriting the rules while everyone else argues about them. In a world full of giants chasing perfection, Sweden built something better, a fighter built for reality. The Gripen didn't just change the game, it reminded the world what the game was really about.